PHP 5.2 has a nice feature called input filtering, which enables you to filter and validate your variables that are coming in from a form via post or get. Let me show you how that works. Here we have a little echo show it, which shows our form here. And inside the form, let's make a little table so everything is lined up correctly. So for instance, TD, we have a ID. And then in the ID we have type equals text, name equals ID, okay. And then this must be between 3 and 10, for instance. So there we have a little ID. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so we're asking for an ID that has to be between 3 and 10. Let's make a little button first. We don't need anything on the left side here. So text is a submit. Name, we don't need a name, we just need a value. Send, for instance. And we don't need this text. So now we have a complete form with a send tag that has a slash in it. Yes. So now we have our form. So we can click send, and we go to our input filtering process page, which is empty. Now we're going to use input filtering to filter this variable called ID and make sure it's between 3 and 10. So the syntax for that is like this. Here, we're going to do all of our posts here. So we get ID here, and filter input is the name of the nice function. Input post, we would say get there if we were doing a get. We'll do that later. ID is the name that is coming from the form, and then filter. If you have Eclipse, then you get this nice drop down here, and you see everything that you can filter with. We want an integer, comma, and now we put in the options. The options is an array. What is in the array? Min range, that is a 3. Max range, that is a 10. Super. Now, ID at this point could be 3 different variable types. If the form didn't send ID at all, if we comment this out, then it will be null. If the form sent it and the user typed in something invalid, something less than 3 or greater than 10, then ID is a Boolean false. Otherwise, ID is what the user put in, that is an integer. Actually, it'll be of type string, but it is an integer since it's validated, so you can change it into an integer if you want. So our validation looks like this. Validate ID. If is null ID, then we have here echo. So the ID argument is missing, for instance. And if that's not the case, else if ID is false and it is Boolean, that's what the 3 equals means, then echo div to keep everything in one line. The ID argument must be an integer between 3 and 10. So otherwise, everything's okay. Go div ID is valid. And let's give the ID here. So that should work. So let's test it. We go here. Go back to our form. Here's our form. Let's type in something correct, 5. And it says ID is valid 5. That's very nice. Let's type in 1. And the ID argument must be an integer between 3 and 10, it says. What if we type in 1? The ID argument must be an integer between 3 and 10. So it takes everything that we type in and says no go on that, even if we type in script, alert, I'm a hacker. The ID argument is not between 3 and 10. Very nice. Now, what about if the form doesn't send it? You might have a dynamic form, for instance, it sometimes sends it and sometimes doesn't. Then we go here. Let's do that a little differently because we won't be able to see anything. Let's say we send ID 2, which is not ID. So now we send this, we send something, the ID argument is missing. So you see here with this little example that you have, with input filtering, quite a bit of control over what you do with the variables that come in from a form. And in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to use more of these input filters to validate other types of variables.